This is Mario with MIA Microflight once again, and these are the components for an LED lamp for an in-ground pool that fits inside a 1.5 inch diameter jet fitting. This is the fitting for the jets. Actually, this is the outside ring or cap. This is the insert. This is what actually goes inside your pool, and it threads, with Teflon tape inside the opening of the jet. This actually has a ball with a through hole that can pivot to divert the water in a certain direction, and this is the cover for that. So typically these two parts are readily available, very inexpensive. I think these parts will cost you maybe a few bucks. And in order to make this light, this cost me about $25, I think, no more than $25 in total parts, and I made my own light versus having to purchase one that can cost you on upwards to anywhere from 150 up to five. I've seen them for 525. Just a small LED lamp for the pool. It's crazy. So I decided to make my own when I got a little upset at the cost of these lamps, and they're nothing more than a structure like this. They have a pigtail that has a waterproof connector to a 12-volt supply. This fits inside a pocket about that deep inside the pool, which is about that wide, that deep, that wide, and then it's got a tube, a PVC tube that runs all the way, about 30 feet in my case, to the AC to DC transformer. This runs on 12 volts DC, like I said. And so what I did is I went and got these pigtails also from, I bought these from Amazon. This is a part that I used from a bicycle foot rest or foot pegs. So they come in a set of two. So I cut one in half and I machined half of that. And I did the same with the other one, maintaining the back of this because the back is sealed. I added these connectors, these pigtail connectors, which also come with their own seals at both ends. So that's a seal part. And then the inside, this is one that got water, and I believe it came from the back here because I had not sealed this properly. This aluminum part needs to be metal because the LED that I had there requires a heat sink. 7-watt LED. When you start talking about anywhere from upwards of 1 watt, you got to start heat sinking the LEDs because they, if you leave them on for a while, they're going to dissipate heat, and then that heat needs to be dissipated some way, and that's the purpose of the heat sink. A lot of these more commercial lights are the same thing. They're basically the same. What I'm showing you here, this is a more do-it-yourself version, a little bit crude maybe, but it's basically the same concept, the same idea, and they charge you, on up to $550 for one single light. This right here is a glass that I used, that I took from a spice jars. These come in rectangular or square jars. You get about 4 or 5 of these in a set if you buy them through any store that has that sells similar items. I believe Bed Bath and Beyond used to sell those, but I think I got this from another store named Marshalls. Marshalls sells clothing and some houseware items. Sometimes they have furniture and odds and ends that you can buy. So I just happened to be in one of those stores with my wife, and I saw this, and it dawned on me. I go, wow, that looks like a lens, that I could use for my do-it-yourself pool light. And so I ended up buying that. They come with their own seals because these are spice jars that need to be airtight sealed, to maintain the flavor of the spices. So I ended up removing this from one of those jars. I actually did 2 of these lights because I have 2 lights in my pool. And so that has its own seal, like I said, and that fits inside that part right there. I did have to machine this part on the lathe a little bit wider because I don't think this fit straight out of the out of the unit. It would have been nice if it would have been a direct fit, but I think I machined this, noticing that this has some lines that look like it came from my CNC machine. It's been a while since I did this, but I took out the light since I'm cleaning my pool, and I decided to remove this bad light. The water got into this section here, but I think it's because this joint right here, from that to that, wasn't properly sealed. So I'm redoing this light, and I think I'm considering even going with a higher wattage. And so what I've been looking at is I have two ideas here. This is a light that you can buy, a submersible light. This is called a POC LED Extreme Light, and it takes 3 AAA size batteries. It operates at about 3.5 volts. And it's bright enough that it'll light up a good section of the pool. I think 2 of these lights would do the trick. They don't need, these don't have any heat sinks per se, but these are not, and I believe it's because these are submerged in the water. The water has a little bit of cooling properties, depending where you live, because in Arizona, in the summer, the water in the pools tend to get warm. But these are submersible lights, and I've been thinking of taking this concept here, or this ring light that I bought. This operates at 12 volts direct. It's got a little transformer there, I think, or some kind of a coil there to. These are rated between 12 and 24 volts. Very, very simple lights, but they have a bunch of little LEDs here, and these are very bright. These are for lighting. People use these for lighting machines, and just like a drill press or maybe a CNC machine or a 3D printer. They put them underneath, and because it's a ring, it lights up the whole perimeter area. But this underwater also would light up a good chunk of the pool, and so this is a concept that I'm playing with as an option to these lights right here. So something like this would have to be sealed completely, and this is not hard to seal because the light is enclosed in this enclosure here, this translucent plastic enclosure. This would have to be sealed completely with silicone glue, and the wires would have to somehow be routed into the opening of the into these 1.5 inch openings of the pool to connect with the 12 volt DC supply. So I'm considering taking this light and putting a pigtail similar to this right here, and running this through there with some kind of a seal adapter here that I can attach this light easily to that and remove it while the pool is got water. Problem with these lights is you have to remove the water to access these lights, which are about 2 feet below the surface of the pool. So that's the only thing with replacing these lights. With something like this, if I were to make this as a detachable unit here with some kind of an external seal, like a pigtail that I can just shove in there and pull out of the pool 2 feet away, I can disconnect it at the top above the water if these were to go bad at some point, and that would be another option to do an LED light. Very simple, very inexpensive, because these are no more than a couple bucks a piece. The only thing is that this has to be, like I said, properly sealed well. So an adapter has to be designed for that. I could do that on a CAD program, and design that part to print it in as a some kind of a TPU filament. It's more flexible, more rubberized. That could be adapted to this ring right here. So when I install these things, this is sealed, and it also seals the wires from getting any water into the inside of the opening or the light itself. So that would be an option right here, and I think it would look nice there. It's kind of flush with the side wall of the pool. So that's another option. The other option is just to simply go with these guys and buy a bunch of these and just put them on the inside the pool whenever you're in there, and you can always dive in, pull them out. The only thing, these would be more of a manual type installation. Every time you're in the pool, you have to go down to the bottom of the pool and pull these out when you're done swimming to turn them off, because these tend to remain on. They don't have any switches, but they do have a seal here. And these are waterproof. They have an O-ring, a large O-ring. And as you tighten this bottom section here, once you access the batteries, you put the battery, it remains on. So this would be one of those type of lights for that type of application. If you don't mind going into inside of the pool and removing these when you're done swimming, it's just a little extra step there, but it would also work. And these provide multiple lighting schemes. So it's not just a bright LED light, like these are white LED lights that I installed. This is the ones I installed here was a bright LED light. I removed that from here and just threw it out because that got rusted, with some water that I think filtered through the back end here, and not so much from the front. The front is well sealed when you have this type of seal here. That's a no ring that fits over that, and this has its own seal right there when it's press fit into that, and you like this right here. There's no way water can get into this way from the front of the pool. And since this is a Teflon coated here, we run Teflon tape here, and before we install this on the side of the wall, that also creates a seal there. So I think this light gave out because I had water when it rained. It accumulated at the transformer box end, and it came in through the piping that these things are routed through. Just by looking at the nature of this corroded section of this aluminum heatsink here, it looks like water came in from here and it filtered right into the inside of this cavity here. So, but that can be easily fixed. Put a new light there. Same light, I can use the same light, or go with something a little bit higher wattage. The only thing with higher wattage is that the heatsink is going to get a little more warm. And I was afraid to go with anything higher than 7 watts because after bench tests, running this for a few hours, because typically, when you're in the pool, you're no more than maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours at the most. If you're on and off, especially at night, when these things are, when you would want to turn these things on, you want them on. 3 hours, I was calculating at the most that these lights would be turned on. This was getting a little bit warm after 3 hours. Like I said, in bench tests, and I don't want to go with anything higher wattage because that would have required a higher, a bigger heat sink. And I only have so much depth here to work with inside the pool. The way my pool was designed, it was designed for fiber optic cable. So that opening is just enough to get about an inch and 2 inch of fiber optic stem at the very end that went into a lens. I couldn't use that lens because the lens was really bad, and so that's the reason why I decided to make my own lens and light fixture here, as you see it here. Like I said, I spent $25 in this unit here, and it worked just fine, except that like I said, I didn't quite seal this properly on this particular light. The other one looks to be just fine. I have 2 lights in my pool, so that's an option. I can go back to the same thing, or I can do this. That's why I bought this. I went back and I started revisiting my thoughts on this and why I bought these lamps. And I bought these lamps exactly to kind of give me ideas on options in lieu of this light here. And so, as I just described, that's another way to maybe do this light, is to provide some kind of an adapter that's sealed. This is sealed and just pops in there, and you can mechanically just take this out from the surface of the pool, reach down 2 feet down into the opening there, pull this out, and it can pull the wire along with that. But this would have to be sealed on the inside as well, and just have a little cavity there just to shove the water back in, the wires back in. The wires would have to be insulated, which is not a problem, and the connector also would have to be somehow insulated to connect to the connector that connects to these types of pigtails. These are waterproof connectors. You can see the O-ring at the end there. So those are some of my ideas here that I'm pondering on while reconstructing this lamp here. before I put it back into the pool.